Hey folks, this is Gray here, and today we're going to be looking at something new by Ecoflow. So what we have here is called the Wave 2. Now what this is a battery powered or DC powered portable AC unit slash also heater unit all in one. So how does this apply to emergency preparedness? Well, we're going to discuss that and how I'm going to use it in a scenario that I'm going to show you here, how for me living in Florida this is going to benefit me specifically if I'm on the road, right? And some people are like, well, would you carry this in your vehicle? It depends. If I'm going on a long trip, or if I'm going to, let's say I'm heading to a long trip to go camping somewhere because I want to take this and just, do a little glamping per se, right? But there's a problem with my vehicle and we're stuck on the side of the road and it's blazing hot outside. How could I use this for that emergency situation? That being said, towards the end of this video, when I go to wrap this video up, I'm going to ask you, my viewers, 2 questions at the end of this, and I look forward to hearing your responses from that. So that being said, real quick, I just want to go over a couple of things real fast before we get an up close and look and personal view of the Wave 2 by Ecoflow. Is that the unit itself is pretty compact for what it is. You know what I mean? I think it's, don't get me wrong, if I get it wrong, I'll throw it on the screen, but it's 8,000 BTUs for the air condition, and I think 10,000 BTUs for the heater. If I got that wrong, I will throw it on the screen and correct myself then. Sometimes there's so much information involved in technology like this. Now, the compressor built inside this machine here is going to be a DC powered compressor. So when I say that, that means that this unit is going to be more efficient via DC versus AC. Now it comes with a way to plug this to your wall via AC, but what about if you have a power outage? So that's where everything comes into play. Now I'm going to get up on this bottom of this, but this is the battery. This whole big thing down here is the battery, and you can see how I got the battery plugged in because I'm going to be using it as a portable unit. Now some folks, you can charge this battery via solar, which is nice, especially if you have one of Ecoflow's bifacial panels. Also, if you want to make it more efficient out of just running just off the battery and you want to extend this for longer periods of time, and some of you folks out there that may have a Ecoflow Delta or Ecoflow, some sort of Ecoflow portable power station, you can extend the life of the unit running for either longer cooling or longer heating for that purposes, because again, like I said, it's a DC compressor, so it's going to run more efficient than something, let's say if you plug in this into the wall. Now you can charge it via plugging in the wall or charge it via solar or so on and so forth, right? So that kind of gives you a few options. We're going to go over the screen. The app, Ecoflow app, I've talked about this in some of the other Ecoflow videos that I've done, is very, very smooth app. I'm telling you folks, it's just the way they've designed it and the way that you can run through with all your Ecoflow products. I really like the design of that app. So first what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what you get in the box if you happen to pick up the Ecoflow Wave 2, what you get in the box. We're going to take a close-up look at some of the screen up here, the vents and whatnot on here, because there's certain things that there's certain positions enough and you can't see the top just yet, but you can see there's vents back here, vents up here, vents on the front, and a vent up here. This is basically where your cooling comes from. But also I'm going to show you the scenario that I'm going to use this in, specifically my vehicle, just because I live in Florida, and sometimes if you were to break down on a country road, and what I mean by breaking down, let's say you blow a radiator hose, and tow trucks take quite some time to reach you. And you folks who have been following me for quite some time know I keep portable power stations in my vehicle, I keep solar in my vehicle, and I know some of you folks don't have trucks or maybe SUVs, you have a small car or whatnot, but there's certain things that to me could be beneficial to folks out there that could keep in their vehicle. So depending on what I'm doing, I can see how I can use this for an emergency, and I'm going to show you guys that here on a bit. But first, let's get close-up look at the Ecoflow Wave 2. So let's take a look at the screen, folks. Basically, as you can see here, this is your on and off button here. If I hold this down, it's going to turn the unit all the way off. You can see everything comes off. And then if I push the button again, the unit's going to come on. And let's kind of work ourselves around the screen. So this part of the button here, this is going to kind of give you the idea of what mode it's in. So right now, if you see that icon there, that's the fan mode. If I push this again, you're going to see a snowflake right there. That means it's on the cold mode or your AC mode. If I push it again, it's going to look like a little sun, and we're in heat mode. So that's how you kind of flow through this menu here with this button. Kind of let you know if you're going through fan, AC, heat, and wind. And if you can kind of get on there, you can see it looks like a little blowing wind, and I'll cycle through those again so that you can see that up close. You got the snowflake, the sun, and the wind blowing. So that's the basics of that. I'm going to put this on AC mode to kind of give you guys an idea. And first we're going to focus on this because this is going to control your fan speed. So right now I have it on low. All right. And this is also, to give you a work around the screen, this is the ambient temperature here outside. Currently in shade in Florida, it's 82 degrees. As you can see, it fluctuates a little bit. This is what the unit is set for AC. Whoops, didn't mean to push that button just yet, but it's set for 60 degrees. This is how much battery time I have with everything set this way, and the fan at that level. Now, as I move things along, this button here where you can see there's a fan, I'm going to push this as this increases the fan. Now, this may get a little loud, depending on how close the mic is to it, I guess, but I'm going to push this, and you're going to see that go up, and the fan is going up now, which is going to increase the output from here. If I push it again, that's going to be max fan, and the fan is going to be blowing right through here. And I'll get into this here shortly, this whole glow and what it means. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and turn the fan back down to low so that you guys can hear me a little bit better. And right here, this is going to be your temperature modes. That's your, if you want to bring the temperature up or temperature down. So here in Florida, of course, we want it cold as possible, just because it's always so hot. But so if I bring this up and I push this, that's going to give me the temperature that I have that set at. And you can see it's basically going to say it's set at 66. Right now, I like it to keep it as cold as it goes, which is 60 degrees. Believe it or not, 60 degrees is quite cold. Just ask my wife. Anyways, that being said, this is going to be your other function button here. And if I push it, you're going to see it go to max. It's automatically go to its max setting. The fan is going to come up high. It's going to drop to the 60 degrees if it's not set at 60 degrees. And you're going to hear everything kicking on in high gear. The compressor is going to kick on. The battery is going to start dropping because everything is going to be on full tilt. Now, when it goes to full tilt and the compressor kicks on, you're going to notice that battery, how many hours, drop dramatically. Now, once you have everything set and it's running smoothly, just like with any other unit, once the compressor is done kicking on and bringing things to temp, your battery number is going to go way up again. So as you can see it dropping, I don't know if you guys can hear the compressor kicking on. It's over here on the side there. But that's the compressor kicking on. So if I leave it with this temperature outside, maxed out at 60, fan maxed out, I'm only going to get about 3 hours out of the battery that's connected to this unit. Now, once the compressor kicks off, if I had this set to, let's say, let's move this up a little bit here, right? Let's say if let's say I have, my house is usually set at 72, right? So once this reaches 72 degrees and the compressor kicks off, I'm going to get a lot more efficiency out of the battery that's attached to this unit. So this is where it comes into play. If you have a portable power station and you have it plugged into this, it's going to add to the duration on how long you can run a unit like this for. Again, this number is kind of be a little bit misleading in the fact that the compressor is kicked on right now and drawing the maximum output from that battery. If you buy this unit, and let's say you happen to buy the battery as well, because they are individual, unless you buy a combo kit, and of course, use a affiliate link or a discount code, then you can save money that way. But what do you get in the box? That's what a lot of people are going to ask. What comes with the unit, and how does it work specifically? And let's kind of go over this really fast, because you got kind of a cardboard thing here for people to use for their window or whatnot. To me, that's what I think it's been used for, as a window. Some people would also use this. This is kind of like, if you notice the shape of it, is kind of corresponding to each one of these tubes here. And I'll show you how that works here in a minute. So, of course, then you also have a bunch of documentation from warranty card and the quick start guide. This hose here also comes with it. And if you're curious about that, on the back of this unit, when you're using the heat or in other modes, this is going to drain water. So you would have this connected through here so that it drains water. So of course you don't have water pouring out everywhere and whatnot. So that's what that hose is going to be there used for. But most of the time I'm going to be using it as an AC unit, so I won't be using that technically. It kind of reminds me of like the old swamp coolers. And what I mean by that is this is far from that. But basically this unit uses the water inside of it to kind of keep that everything going and keeping that water cool, to blow that cool air out the front of the unit. So if you notice, there's these three connector pieces right here and here, like small, medium, and large. And of course the hoses as well. You have a small and a large hose. All right, so let's talk about these hose connection pieces here. So they each have a purpose, and I'll grab the one in the middle here because that one is going to go on. Let's say if you just don't want to use it this way and you want to connect the hose and direct the air into a specific spot, then you would use something like this, which basically, if I get that right, there we go. It's going to connect to this and lock into the unit. The smaller one, this one's going to be up for the top port up here. This is your exhaust port. If you want to port the heat away from you, let's say out of your tent or out of your vehicle or out of your home. And if you look, you can kind of see those buttons there and those clips down there. Now trying to do this one-handed might be a little bit challenging, but I'm going to try to line those clips on the inside there. And if you look at this, this will kind of line up right here. I'm going to push this in and try to get it centered, and it's going to lock into place. And that's going to be your exhaust port there. Last but not least is your larger connector here. And I don't know if you can see up there, but it's probably hard to see in there. See if I turn on the light. If you can see in there, there's two little spots for clips up in there, which are going to correspond to these clips, so that you're going to kind of maneuver this in here to those spots. See if I can get that in here. Let's see if I can get that. And that's going to lock into place right there. So you can see that as well. A little dark, but you guys kind of get the gist of it, right? Just to kind of give you an idea. Now, you guys are probably questioning, these are the hoses. And if you notice, each one of these have a spot for a hose. And if you look at the hoses themselves, it kind of gives you an idea how they work. And if you look up here, there's a lock and unlock. So that if you're going to add this in here, you kind of want to make sure that you get it hooked up accordingly, you know what I mean? And I'm probably not going to be, oh, I can do it one-handed. Wow, I impressed myself. And that's going to be the port itself. Now that I have it locked in, because you can see how I turned it, you can extend this as long as you need it to go. So kind of give you an idea how that goes. And I'm letting that go as long as it can. And I know I'm being a little bit more thorough on the unit, but I figure some folks may want to know, right? Quick, I just wanted to show you the styrofoam piece that some folks may use in their window and whatnot. This is the smaller pipe. You see I have it kind of tilted at a 90 degree. Kind of looks a little odd, but you kind of understand the premise behind it. And if I was to take that off, I mean, you can literally shape this to however you need it to be shaped. So I really like that aspect. All right, folks. So I'm going to run the Ecoflow basically from the bed of my truck into my window, as you can see there. And then we'll go to the other side and how it looks like on the inside as well. All right, so you can see I have the port of the Wave 2 coming in through my vehicle. And which the size of my cab is pretty decent. We're also going to check the temperature with this infrared thermometer in the cab once we get this thing moving forward. So here's my scenario. I'm driving down a long country road. I'm on a trip or just a long drive. And here in Florida during the summertime, or let's say some of you folks out in Arizona, we're specifically talking about the AC aspect of it, because if you're up north in the mountains, in a very mountainous region where it's, you know, where the temperatures drop in the wintertime to well below freezing, and you need a way to heat yourself because something goes sideways. And it reminds me of a story that Charlie had talked to me about over there in Newfoundland, is that if you break down in the wintertime, he says, you don't almost never see anybody out there, and if you're not properly prepared in your vehicle, you'll probably freeze to death. You won't last very long. So I could see how somewhere like in areas like that, it could be very detrimental to your life. So this, you can consider something like this a life-saving situation or a product, right? Here in Florida, it's about the heat. And sure, you could roll down your windows, but then the heat is just a stagnant heat in general, right? So if your car doesn't start and you have no other option to keep yourself cool on an extremely hot day, right? How could this be useful? And by porting that, as you can see behind me there, I'm porting the AC, the cool air from the unit itself, blowing into the cab of the van. And the reason that's why I got the windows up, so that it stays cool. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is because you want to bring down the temperature inside here as cool as possible, specifically if you're waiting for help. Let's say you have cell service. Luckily, let's say maybe you're lucky and you have cell service. You can basically, you know, call for a tow truck or help and maybe they're an hour away, but you still don't want to be in the heat for a long period of time, being that, you know, it can get very nasty real quick, especially in the temperature of a vehicle. So I'm going to take this here and I'm going to kind of take a measurement on the cool air that's coming from the unit and see how cold it actually is. And in here right now, the temperature feels nice. I've had it running for a few minutes just to kind of see how it feels. I can feel the cool air in the back of my neck filling the cab. Now, if you really wanted to get technical about it, what you could do is, of course, you could take some duct tape. If you have like a, you know, a get-home bag like I do here in the back with some tape, you can tape around that unit or whatever you want to do to insulate it so that no hot air is getting into your vehicle, or, you know, outside air. There's nothing but cool air that's coming in there from the unit itself. All right, so let's kind of hit this thermometer on the inside and see where we're at on air temperature coming out of here. It's dropping quickly down to 62, 61, 60. 59, 58, 57, 56. I mean, folks, that's impressive. For a portable AC unit that you can use in an emergency, we're down to 52 degrees already. And that's not the ambient temperature of the vehicle, but that's the air coming out of the Wave 2. 51 degrees. It's set on 60, remember that, folks. It's set on 60. We're down to 50 degrees it's coming out of there. 49. And this is an infrared, you know, laser thermometer, so there's some fluctuation, plus or minus, you know what I mean. But at least you get the gist of that the air that's coming out of there is nice and cold. So now that I've sat in my vehicle for roughly, I don't know, it's been about 15 minutes or so, it feels really nice in here. It's a dramatic change from having to sit in a hot vehicle, even with the windows down, folks. Here in Florida, it's a humid, sticky, wet heat. So to have, you know, the temperature in here feeling comfortable, knowing that I'm, you know, help is on the way eventually, right? Hopefully, right? And it's just to have something like this, you know, on a long trip or something like that, to prevent something bad from happening. In the news, we saw over the wintertime, folks getting stuck in these huge traffic jams due to blizzards and whatnot. Folks froze to death in their vehicles due to not having something to keep them warm, right? And people don't want to start fires or have something that's kind of, you know, combustible in their vehicle to try to stay warm. So unfortunately, I'm not going to use the heat because it's just way too hot. But you can see, just imagine the folks, was it a year or two ago when the whole Texas freeze happened. Imagine if someone had a unit like this, and they can use it to warm up a room, right? Versus using, you know, your kerosene heaters, or your, what's the word I'm looking for? The name that produces the, I just don't use heaters that often, so it's just not at the top of my head. Anyways, but you can kind of see how some heaters give off certain exhaust that's not good for you. Certain heaters can tip over, like space heaters, and create fires. We've seen that happen time and time again, especially when the temperatures dip really hard. So you can see how the Wave 2 can be something beneficial to folks out there and whatnot. So hopefully I went over the unit efficiently enough for you guys to get an understanding, a general understanding how the Wave 2 works. I went over some key points, how it can be beneficial to someone in the emergency preparedness mindset. And like I said, this will work wonders for those folks out there who do camping or anything like that, or overlanding in their Jeeps or van life or any of that kind of stuff like that would use a unit like this. This would be perfect for them as well. But I wanted to show you how I would use it specifically for that type of emergency. Now, other folks may have better ideas on what you could use it for, because I can probably think about a dozen or so scenarios that I could use it for, specifically if the power goes out and you're trying to cool a room very efficiently with a small portable unit that you can keep inside, versus some of the larger roll-around units that can be a little bit cumbersome. But whatever works for you, you know what I mean? So here's my question to you, my viewers, in regards to the unit itself. One, could you see yourself using something like this for emergencies, and how do you consider it? Like, what would you use it for? I want to hear some of your ideas on if you had something like a portable powered or battery powered AC unit slash heater unit. How would you use it, and would it be effective in your preps? I know some folks, well, you know, it can be a bit costly, and that's what it comes to a lot of these portable power stations and all those kind of things like that we use, these big ticket items for our emergency preparedness stuff. Now, second of all, what I'm looking to hear from you is, did you get any value out of the video? Did you find it interesting, informative? You know, was there any additional things that you'd like to see? And also for you guys that are campers out there, or van life folks, or overlanders, you know, people that go out and just kind of see the world, you know, in a vehicle, would you find it beneficial to you folks as well? I'm really looking forward to hearing back from everybody, because we have a lot of different types of folks on the channel. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting that feedback from you folks in regards to products like this. All in all, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. I had fun with it. Ecoflow, their innovativeness when it comes to products from the previous videos that I've done on their products, like the refrigerator / ice maker. It's just pretty impressive, the things that are coming up with for the folks out here in emergency preparedness, the camping community, and all those communities alike. Like I said, the van life folks, and people that do all that type of camping and whatnot, right? So very innovative. Thank you, Ecoflow, for you know, for sending me this product and getting a chance to kind of work with it and see how it works. Other than that, folks, if you're new here, if you can subscribe if you like to, if you like what you see. I'm an interesting fella from what I hear. And if you got any value out of this video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you hated it, hit the thumbs down button. Whatever works for you, you know. Other than that, remember, folks, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound, and God bless.